All right, everybody. It is a big Monday energy day.
It is.
My Knicks are winning. I've been spending some time on the slopes, Molly. I am so enthusiastic on a Monday.
Look at those endorphins. I love it. You'll love to see it. We are going to have a great conversation today. First up, we're going to talk about Salesforce CEO Mark Benioff. We just have a lot of their CEO vibes in the air. Questioning the productivity of recently hired employees. There has been a lot of chaos there. So we're going to talk about kind of like a little bit about how CEOs respond to downturns and changing work environments. It's a good conversation with a lot of nuance.
A lot of nuance. Molly plays the role of the union leader, the workers representative, and I play the founder executive class. We lean into it and we talk about the big question. Should young workers be forced to come into the office, or should young, inexperienced workers in their first job be allowed to work from home? You're going to be surprised by the answer. Mm-hmm. And then we talk about a report that OpenAI is making $200 million a year, and they project $1 billion next year, and what that means.
Yes, what that means and how. And then just for fun, just to put Google on notice once again, another edition of Google or ChatGTP, and then a new-ish feature. We've done it before, but we're making it more formal. Little big things featuring Instagram.
A new Instagram
notes.
feature.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. This is very good. But you're going to love round 2 of Google versus ChatGPT. The answers might surprise you. Everybody, it's going to be a great show.
Stick with us.
This Week in Startups is brought to you by Supergut. The holidays are here, and between the eating, drinking, and traveling, for many of us, it can be a hard time to maintain good health. The secret to surviving them? A well-balanced gut. Supergut is the easiest and tastiest way, scientifically proven, to boost gut health and all that comes with it, from weight loss to immunity. Get 30% off their delicious shakes, bars, and fiber mix at supergut.com by using code TWIST. And Fitbod. Tired of doing the same workouts at the gym? Fitbod will build you personalized workouts that help you progress with every set. Get 25% off your subscription or try out the app for free when you sign up now at fitbod.me/twist.
Hey, welcome back to Mondays, everybody. It's Big Monday energy. How you feel, Molly? How you feel?
So good.
You look like
Feeling
you got
so
Big
good.
Monday energy.
I do have Big Monday energy. I'm fired up today.
Good for you.
Fired up. Had a nice Hanukkah dinner. Had to burn my sweater.
Oh,
you know how like I don't know if you're familiar with this, but yeah, exactly. So I had a first night dinner, and I don't know if you're familiar with the way that the first night dinner goes, but you only wear an outfit that you are prepared to burn, because if you enter a house in which latkes have been made, you leave and your sweater forever smells like grease and onions, which is the best part of first night. But you gotta just dump that thing.
Latkes are my favorite. So I used to go in the Lower East Side. It'd be 1 or 2 in the morning, or maybe even 3 or 4. We'd be getting out of a club. We'd be hungry. And we would go to the Lower East Side. We'd go to a place called Velseca. And then there was another place called Odessa on Avenue A. And we couldn't afford stuff, but they would have like 6 pierogies or 2 latkes. They were like $1 each, $2 each. And we go eat pierogi with onion and applesauce.
Pierogi's so good.
Latkes with sour cream and grilled onions. And it was just all the poor kids. Plus the Ramones. I kid you not. Like
as in Joey?
Oh, hey, Joey Ramone.
Oh, okay.
He lived on like
York.
A and St. Mark's area. So this is New York in the 90s. Y'all missed it. I'll keep telling 90s New York stories till the day I die. It was just the greatest era ever. But there was a lot of news going down here, and I just want to off the top. Wow, I have to make a statement since there's so much breaking news, and I didn't even prepare Molly for this.
I know.
So sit down, Molly, and let me break this news to you.
Do I need my red flag? Yes or no?
It is critically important that I make the statement here. There's a lot of polls going on, a lot of emotions, and I've given it a lot of thought, and I'm fully in support of Bob Iger coming back to Disney. Okay, let's get to the news.
Okay.
There's a lot of CEO news, and I just want to say
CEO news over the weekend.
I've been getting texted by Bloomberg, by Wall Street Journal, Washington Post. Everybody wants to know my opinion. They said, hey, can we talk to you about the CEO job? And I said, I think Bob Iger should take it. And so that's my final statement. I'm going to keep it at that.
Yeah. In other CEO news that I will be asking you to comment on this show.
Okay, here we go.
Salesforce CEO Mark Benioff.
Keep the bit going.
Made waves over the weekend on his company's internal Slack. Okay, so I've been waiting. Many people have been waiting for the big dishy what the heck is going on at Salesforce article, because there's been a lot of disruption at Salesforce recently. So by way of context for this setup, Salesforce has had a bunch of high profile departures in a short period of time, right? So co-CEO Brett Taylor and Slack CEO Stuart Butterfield left in the same week. Lost in that week, Tableau CEO Mark Nelson, Tableau, of course, having been acquired by Salesforce, also announced that he was stepping down just days apart. The company lost a CTO in that same week. All of them said, oh, this is just coincidence. But then Business Insider recently published a list of 21 Salesforce executives that have left in the past year. Like high-level people.
Okay.
Yep.
That is
happens.
a big number. We don't know the denominator. So there's that. But okay,
right. I mean, they have however many, but it's like some former CEOs. It's a lot of, it seems like CEOs of companies that Salesforce acquired, but not completely. The former chief innovation officer.
Fully vest, what's his name? Stuart left after the 2-year vest, right? So that's normal.
But you had let's see, chief strategy officer and chief revenue officer, SVP and general manager of Trailhead, SVP of marketing, COO of marketing, executive vice president of sales, EVP of chief customer technology, EVP and chief customer technology officer, and so on and so forth, right? General manager of marketing cloud, SVP and GM of experience cloud, like a lot of execs, a lot of executive level departures.
Right.
So Wall Street Journal did publish kind of a dishy report that was a little bit Bob on Bob. We are going to talk about the Bobs later, about Benioff and Brett Taylor and the tension there, and how Benioff didn't like where Taylor was spending his time. He thought he was spending a lot of time at Twitter, for example.
Yes. Because that was all during the acquisition or not acquisition moment in time. And he was, I believe, I don't have inside information here, as far as that is for some people to believe. Just what I read in the news was he was, running point on that, if that's correct. So there you go.
Steps into the limelight. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's
annoying. By the way, that's particularly annoying to Benioff for 2 reasons. Number one, he tried to buy Twitter. So it's annoying.
Interesting.
That's something he liked. It's like a toy. It's like like for you and I, it would be like a beautiful car or a house we really coveted, right? For a Benioff or other executives who have the ability to buy such things, it's like it's a jewel. It's a jewel property. What do they call those properties? Like showcase properties, if you're into homes, not everybody's into homes.
Hero property or
it's like buying like a castle or the best house, in London, the best, townhome in Manhattan,
Prestige.
Whatever it is. It's a trophy
Is that
property.
What we're looking for? Trophy.
It's a trophy property. So, to have Brett then being involved with the trophy property when he wanted it, it's like when the Disney executive bought like the Malibu home of another Disney executive and they fought over it. Like, I think that was Ovitz had bought a property that
Ovitz.
His partner coveted, and it just led to a lot of bad feelings. Just like rich people games. But anyway, there's that. And then number 2, Benioff wants to experience the peak lifestyle of being the CEO and founder, and he wants a working class co-CEO. Your job is not to go to Davos if you're the co-CEO with Benioff. It's his job to go to Davos. It's not your job to take credit. It's not your job to be in the limelight. Co-CEO number 2 with the founder, your job is to keep your head down and do all the grunt work that the founder doesn't want. That's what happened here, based on my assessment.
Yep, I think that is almost certainly accurate. So that happens. Lots of other executives have left in the past year. A time of turnover and transition for lots of people, but that's been happening. And the stock is down almost 50% year to date. And as it happens, Salesforce could be running into some headwinds which both I first and David Sachs have identified as this like maturation in the SaaS industry, right? I'm calling it
did a great tweet storm. Yeah, you said there was SaaS. What did you call it? Like SaaS overload or
SaaSturation?
SaaSturation. Yeah, I think that was good. That was a term that we should have workshopped that a little bit, and we should have made that stick. That's on me. I should have given you a little more props for that one. SaaSturation.
Oh, thanks, man. SaaSturation. It's okay. It's not too late because it's just starting.
Whenever we're trying to coin a term, you just got to give me the slight DM and say, hey, I need a little air cover here, JCal. Let's get this one to stick. Okay. Just like mine, you helped me with the, this is the, what did I name this bubble? The speculative asset bubble?
The speculative asset bubble.
It's the SAB, it's the SAB, speculative asset. You guys were really good about, hey, let's just keep branding that. So when we come up with a good term, we got to brand it, try to get it to catch on.
Okay. Well, I think we're going to get our chance for all of 2023 because SaaSturation is real. And then
explain SaaSturation to people, please. I'm sorry.
SaaSturation, yes. So I wrote this long tweet thread about the idea that companies, which now has become, we're all talking about this. Companies are going to start cutting their SaaS subscriptions is the really basic part of it, right? Like I did my personal consumer level audit of how much crap I subscribed to and was like, whoa, a lot of this overlaps. This is too much. And I talked to a potential customer of a company I was interested in investing in who said, I guess the question for me is like, not does it work? It's do I need another $30,000 a year subscription? And I thought, oh crap, this is going to be a problem for all of these companies. And also we VCs have flooded the zone with these companies.
Sure.
And so new ones coming into this kind of chop around SaaS are gonna hit some problems. And so then I ended it by saying,
everybody's SaaSturation.
I said yes.
Now, when you did unsubscribe on your personal side, were there any subscription services to seize ahead for another story that were particularly hard to unsubscribe from? Which was the worst?
Ooh.
Did you have any ones, or they were all one click, easy breezy?
It was. No, I think, this is really dumb. This is really, really dumb. But I was subscribed to Cinemax because I really like this crappy English action show called Strike Back. It's amazing. Strike Back is freaking awesome. And then I was like, I don't want to dump Skinemax, which I do still call it that, even though I subscribed for
that was
Strike Back.
I literally, for people not watching, I was like, the eyebrow went right up. Okay, Molly, say more about your Skinemax.
I don't watch anything else on Skinemax except for Strike Back, but I almost didn't want to let it go. I wanted to hoard it just in case I felt like watching Strike Back. And then I was like, that is so stupid. Cancels. Okay. Also, Strike Back.
Fair enough.
Is awesome.
Looks pretty good to me.
Oh my God, it's so good. It's like spy shows. Oh, it's so good.
Love it.
God, I'm going to have to freaking sign up for Skinemax.
So that was hard.
That was hard. To everything else, though, like, I did not need that.
Here is my best advice to founders. So this is just a little nugget I'm going to add here. This is a little founder trick. There are credit cards that you can get. And this is what I want you to do. I want you to write on your credit card the 2022 card. Then I want you to get a 2023 card and a 2024 card. Or you could do this in 6-month increments. And you just take a little Sharpie out, you write that on the card. Then you put all your subscriptions, anything that's a SaaS subscription. This is your subscription card for 22, 23, and 24. Now, you cancel that card, hard cancel it, close it down, shut it down. And these are 3 credit cards from 3 different companies so that there's no way of rolling over the charges.
Smart.
And then every December 1st, or let's call it November 15th, you turn the card off. And if you are like Castaway, lost on an island, this SaaS companies will find you. They literally, this is how you can, if you can get rescued from an island, because they'll literally find somebody who will show up at the island and be like, hey, your Salesforce, your Slack is turned off. That's how dogged they are. Yeah, the joke didn't land, I guess. Anyway, there are also cards you can get.
I got it. I'm trying not to interrupt. You're on a roll.
Yes. There are cards you can get that let you program the card. I'm not going to give any shout outs to this particular ones, but startups use these cards all the time. And we use them internally because young employees, they don't want to have to use their personal card. And they don't often use it anyway. So we can give them a card with a $50 a month limit. And if it cancels or something like that, if it bounces, no big deal. They say to the operations person, can you put it at 200? I have to do this on it. Great. But then we can also turn it to 0, turn it off. So the programmability of cards is like that. Now, the credit card companies are in cahoots with the subscription companies to screw you on getting rid of these subscriptions. So this is why you have to protect yourself. You just turn it off at the end of the year because they'll contact you, and the person in the company who needs it will contact you and say, hey, I went into my, whatever, my box account, my iTunes storage account, whatever SaaS subscription product you're using, New York Times, Wall Street Journal say it doesn't work. I need it. So that's how you prove need, is by turning off the payment. Please do this, everybody. I do it personally. I do it professionally at all the companies. The technique works. Chef's kiss. Continue with the Salesforce story.
It's excellent. It's excellent.
The holidays are almost here. Hanukkah just started, Christmas, Kwanzaa, all of it's right around the corner. And for many of us, this is a really hard time to maintain good health. Everybody wants to cheat, right? I'm going to cheat. It's going to be my cheat day, my cheat week, my cheat vacation. Enough of the cheating. And you know what the secret to surviving the holidays is? It's having a well-balanced gut. And that's why you need to check out my favorite product, Supergut. This is my bestie, David Friedberg's company. You know, the Sultan of Science. Supergut is a breakthrough nutrition company in the gut health space. And I love their chocolate brownie bar. And the mocha mix, I put that in my coffee and I do a mocha squared. It's delicious. A lot of these things taste terrible, but the Sultan of Science, David Friedberg, made it taste great. You see how thin I got? I dropped 30 pounds. Supergut was a major part of that. And they have an unflavored fiber mix that I add to everything. You just have a warm beverage, you put a scoop of it in. You're good. You don't even taste it. And then you got proper health. It improves digestion. It boosts energy. It curbs your cravings. And it's going to help you lose weight, which it did for me. If you're a founder, you know how important it is to have great health. Health is wealth. And it also helps your productivity. They are running their best deal of the year right now. And if you use my code TWIST, you get an even better deal, 30% off. Visit supergut.com and make sure to use the promo code TWIST so my bestie Friedberg knows that it came from this podcast, and you'll save 30%.
All right. So I was talking about saturation, and then Sachs came along and specifically started tweeting about Salesforce in this exact context. Saw net new ARR decrease by 2/3 in the most recent quarter. That's a huge slowdown, but implies the need to cut over $2 billion of sales and marketing if it wants to maintain CAC payback at reasonable levels, i.e., the customer acquisition cost. And then he points out that over time, this could become a vicious cycle. Layoffs lead to seat contraction, lead to sales slowdown, lead to cost cutting, lead to layoffs, and repeat, aka saturation ends up in a death spiral.
The death spiral.
Or
SaaS spiral. Yeah.
SaaS spiral for all these companies. Okay.
Yes.
Right, I got it. So it is in this context that Salesforce CEO Mark Benioff appears to all of a sudden, having lost 21 executives who were probably managing lots of people, is looking deeply at Salesforce employee productivity. Employees at Salesforce have doubled since 2019, has 73,000 employees, up over 20% year over year. On Friday, Benioff let employees know over Slack that the newest hires weren't productive enough. According to CNBC, the message said, quote, new employees hired during the pandemic in 2021 and 2022 are especially facing much lower productivity. Is this a reflection of our office policy? Are we not building tribal knowledge with new employees without an office culture? Are our managers not directly addressing productivity with their teams? Are we not investing enough time into our new employees? Do managers focus enough time and energy on onboarding new employees and achieving productivity? Is coming in as a new employee to Salesforce too overwhelming? Asking for a friend. And he added a halo smiley at the end.
Now, you were kind of laughing at it. Maybe
I'm chuckling.
Eye rolling a little bit.
I'm eye rolling a little bit.
Okay, because coming from where I'm coming from, I thought those are good questions. I like the fact that he's asking it open-ended in the Slack and being transparent and having an open discourse with the employees. So as a manager, and I think maybe in our dynamic, Molly, which has made this show stronger and made us go up the rankings, sometimes I represent the managerial class and sometimes you represent the worker class.
Yeah, I'm like the populist. Fair? Yeah, I'm the populist in the building, I think. Yeah.
So here, let's just embrace the dynamic.
We'll play it out. Exactly.
We'll play it out. I looked at it and I said, you know what? before he does his riff, which he's going to do, he's saying, hey, here are my concerns as the manager. And the way he said it wasn't, I'm dictating to, you cogs in the wheel.
Mm-hmm.
He's saying really thoughtful questions like, are we overwhelming them? Where's the tribal knowledge? Are the managers not doing enough? What's not working here? And he actually put a little bit of a joke into it, to create a little levity here. It's a serious topic, but he said asking for a friend. I like it. I give that. And listen, I like Benioff, but I'm not a simp or anything. I barely know the guy. I've asked him to come on the show no less than 10 times.
Yeah.
And Benioff has never come on the show. One time Benioff came and spoke at our events and then didn't let me interview him. He hand selected his interview. It's the one time in the history of my events that I let somebody do it, and I regret it to this day. But I wanted to have Benioff at the show. I needed him at the show because he's a headliner. He was very popular at the time.
Yeah.
And I felt like his PR people were a little heavy-handed with me, if I'm being honest. And they're like, you can have Benioff, but, we pick the interviewer. And I'm like, it's my show. And I was really, I'm going to be honest about it right now because I know this is going to get back to Benioff. I was a little insulted by it because I really wanted to discuss Benioff's career with him.
Yeah.
And I felt a little bit like they twisted my arm. So that's the context of which I'm coming at this. I'm not like a Benioff apologist. I'm not a Benioff critic.
Right.
I like Benioff. I respect his career. And I think he's a cool dude in many ways, in terms of his philosophy of running companies. I give him an A+ on this because the easier thing to do is to just be like, y'all aren't working hard enough. Here's the riff, or just here's the riff, whatever. But you were a little bit like, so what's the about?
I know it's true. And maybe I was excessively because
it's okay. I mean,
it's a tough, the part, okay, well, I will say that I'll just answer the question. The part that I was about is one, yes, you're asking open-ended questions, but you're opening the conversation by saying that employees are not productive enough. Now, so you've already kind of implied, I don't think you're all working hard enough.
Right.
I don't know what the metric for determining that is.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think if you're gonna basically say our new employees that we hired during the pandemic suck, then I would hope that one, there would be some metric attached to that. Like, how did you determine that they're not productive? Is it that you can't see the work that they're doing? Like, what is the way that you are judging these new employees to be less productive? And how have you determined this? Because that's a pretty broad statement that's already going to set people back on their heels. If you're the populist class here, if you're the employee class, you're going to see that and be like, why ask the questions? You might as well just fire me, right? You already said. And so then when you end that with asking for a friend, it's like, bro, just own it. Like, if what you want to know is why are you guys not working harder, then one, as a manager, own it. Like, I thought that was a weird little passive aggressive way to end it.
Okay, sure. Because he does say here, new employees hired during the pandemic in 2021 are especially facing much lower productivity. And then he gets in, like, is that a reflection of our policy? He's trying to have that open-ended discussion. But you're right. He doesn't say how that metric is, determined. Now, maybe they have some metric internally we're not aware of.
Right.
And there's like a review system, but.
Maybe, but it's a big broad statement. Enough. And then don't make a little joke at it at the end. Like, you just put everybody who was hired. Right. You just put everybody hired during the pandemic on notice that they're most likely going to get laid off. You've lost 21. And when you're losing 21 executives, that's you, right? Like, lower level people, they quit because of their bosses. But when all of their bosses quit, the ones who report to Benioff or somebody above him, and you just lost that many people at that level. Yeah. Like, then I would expect those open-ended questions to also include, what can I be doing better? That's what every CEO should always be asking, because they're the top of the pile.
Right. And he says that. He says, is this a reflection of our office policy? Are we not building tribal knowledge? Are our managers not directly addressing productivity with their teams? So he does point at management too. But I think
you should say, what could I be doing? Right? Like, if you're the CEO,
I would have included that. Yes.
I would have included that.
Yeah. As CEO, that would have been a better ending than asking for a friend.
Asking for a friend, I think, is really condescending. I actually found that really off-putting. Yeah.
Yeah, I took it as a joke, but again, I'm representing the managerial founder. I'm representing the founder class. So I took it as a joke. But I think you representing the worker class in this dynamic make a good point, because it's their jobs. It's serious business. This is how they feed their families. Not everybody's, the rich founder who's in control. You're not in control as a worker, except to quit, right? You don't have as much control as the CEO. The CEO should have ended this. If I was going to edit this for Mr. Benioff, I would have said, Mr. Benioff, how about ending instead of with asking for a friend? Most of all, this rests on my shoulders. Are there things that I could be doing better?
Yeah.
Here's the anonymous tip line where you can give guaranteed anonymous feedback.
Yep.
Boom.
Because for all we know,
a burner
these people...
account from this burner email system to email this account. And you literally give them a link to one of those burner emails.
Yeah.
There's like burner emails you can use like for two-factor authentication. It's like a 10-minute email account when you don't want to give your email before Apple had the protection. I would literally link to that. That's like a power move. Here's my email address. And here's how to send a burner email to me. Let it rip. Tell Mark the truth at salesforce.com. Like, what a powerful way to do it. And they'd be like, you know what? You're not in the office. You're in Hawaii. Who are you to tell us? Like, you might get some really candid feedback, right?
You might.
So
you might. Yeah.
There's something bigger going on here.
But also exactly that is the other reason I was chuckling is that it's less about this specific message, which did get my hackles up from, the populist perspective, but also there's clearly this is a CEO facing business headwinds that arguably Salesforce specifically has never faced. And so something is going on. So then to send a message that's like, y'all are not pulling your weight. It's like, well, whoa. You seem to be driving executives out of the building at an alarming rate. So what's the deal?
Well, we can contrast here. Worker / management class. Now, in our dynamic, it's, we're peers here on the show. But I also did a version of this where I said, listen, everybody, here's reality. 2023 is going to suck. I need everybody, including myself, to work harder and be more productive so we can get through this without layoffs. And layoffs are a possibility always, of course. It goes without saying. So I said, okay, I'm going to ask people for that, but I'm also going to make the commitment. Here are my new hours. And I told my assistant and I told Mike Savino, our president, 8:30 a.m. to 8:30 p.m. And if there's any weekend meetings that I don't catch up on, just put them on Sunday mornings because my kids are out on Sunday mornings. And you got to walk the walk if you're going to talk the talk. And so I just said, and I said it to both companies, cards on the table. We have two. I have inside.com. I got the launch company. I've got This Week in Service. All of it's advertising based. And we know advertising is going to get crushed next year. I built the companies with plenty of room for profitability and plenty of runway, but I'm not in control of this. So therefore, let's all work harder. And I think, I don't know, you can give me a letter grade here live on the air, but what I got back from the team, you individually and others, was how can I help? What can we do? Let's have that esprit de corps. Let's all do this together. I got that from my inside team. I got it from my launch team universally. And I think you just have to start with looking in the mirror. And I looked at the mirror. Okay, what did I do right? I kept the company small. I kept the company profitable. I kept the cash reserves up. That's why I'm not in a full-blown panic right now. But I looked at individuals' productivity. I said, you know what? I gave this, everybody the start of day, end of day, just, self-report as a remote company. But I never did time boxing. Or blocking, whatever people call it. I never gave people any training on being ruthless about their time. And when people did share their calendars with me, I looked at it and I was like, holy shit. Sorry about that. Holy cow.
Yeah.
I didn't give the right priorities to some people. That's what I found.
Yeah.
I was like, I have people doing grunt work who are getting paid 3 times the salary of the people who should be doing this grunt task work. Let's call it task work. I don't want to be insulting, but there are task work. It's okay. We're all adults here. There's some things that are tasks that need to get done. And that should be, let's call it, an entry-level employee, not a senior level employee. And I looked at senior level employees. I was like, wait a second, task work. Get that the heck off your plate. These are the things that are going to drive revenue.
Totally.
That's on me. I didn't set the priorities enough, but things were going up and to the right. I don't want to be micromanaging people. I want to be on those slopes behind me. I don't want to review everybody's calendar, but you know what? Here we are. I need every hour of every soldier's, of every general, of every captain. I need every hour perfect. No wasted time. That goes for me too. What am I spending my time on? Right? And am I spending my time in the right place? So I just looked at everybody, other managing directors, associates, researchers at Inside, salespeople, writers. And I just said, whoa, let's work together to be 20% more efficient. All of us can be 20% more efficient. Doesn't mean adding 2 hours to the day. If you're working 10 hours, it doesn't mean work 12. Keep the 10, make them 20% more efficient. Also appreciate the extra half hour if you got it. So anyway, I like to think I did, I don't know, rate me 1 to 10. How did I do? I mean, it's uncomfortable for you to rate me, but we're at my no 8s.
Well, I'm going to give you a
7.5 or 8.5.
By the way, I have spread no 8s throughout the entire family, and everyone is obsessed with this concept now.
Yes, thank you.
It started with my son. Now he's telling everybody. Everyone's like, what? And everyone's trying to figure out how to cheat. Then he told me that my 7.5 was a cheat. It's sweeping the nation. I was like, no, it wasn't.
No 8.
I'm going to give you a 9.5, and I'm going to say the half is only for the moments in which, and this is what I felt with the Benioff thing too.
Yep.
For the moments in which already productive employees felt that they were being told that they were unproductive.
Got it.
Because maybe they were spending too much time on the wrong thing, but ultimately that was a leadership question, right? So I think anytime, I mean, people who went home to work, like everybody's like, oh, if you're remote, added hours to their days. Everybody added hours to their days because the commutes went away. And so people work longer hours.
Yep.
Lots of people felt like, oh crap, I'm doing this. Like my electricity bill went up. I, had to buy a bunch of stuff for my house. I don't. And then on top of that, like a lot of management didn't change.
They did
time
not
blocking, change. Right? Like the way that people were managed didn't change.
Yes.
So then to receive a message that's like, you're not being productive enough.
That's a bummer.
Demotivating, let's say.
I've been on a health kick over the past year, and part of that health kick is the greatest fitness app in the world, Fitbod. And if you're listening to me right now, you probably care about optimization, right? Saving time, doing things perfectly, and data-driven solutions. You know what? Fitness hasn't had these things until Fitbod. Fitbod is a data-driven workout app. It blends machine learning with exercise science. They create a custom dynamic program for you based on your fitness goals, based on your experience, and think about this, your available equipment, right? Maybe you're in a hotel, maybe you're at an Airbnb, maybe you're at a blue ground, and you need to use the equipment you have. They're going to maximize your fitness gains by varying the intensity and the volume between sessions as well. And they make these beautiful visualizations of your body and how utilized your muscles are. So let's check out this demo. Let's say I want to get a 30-minute workout in, and I want to work on my chest, triceps, and my abs, but I'm staying at some, rental, and there's no equipment. Well, they'll create a perfectly optimized workout based on those parameters. Let's say I'm in another, hotel, and they got a bunch of kettlebells. Well, you go to another location and you got those pulley machines. They're going to make a perfect workout for you. It's amazing. It is one of the most beautiful apps ever made. They get featured by Apple all the time. Fitbod takes the guesswork out of fitness. Just open the app and start making progress. Get 25% off your Fitbod subscription or try out the app for free when you sign up now at fitbod.me/twist. That's fitbod.me/twist for 25% off. Yeah, that's a problem with management is, you're trying to communicate to the entire team. Now think about doing it with thousands of employees. You're trying to craft a message, in his case, to tens of thousands of employees.
Yeah.
But there are 10,000 who are in bucket A, 10,000 in bucket B, and 10,000 in bucket C. And how does one, as a manager, I don't have the answer to this, craft a message to high performers, low performers, and average performers?
Right.
It's kind of hard. And
so you use your managers. If you have 73,000 employees, you don't do that.
I want to hear from the CEO.
Then as the CEO, you say, I want you to know I've instructed every senior manager at the company. We're going to be doing this time review. We all have to go through this together. We're going to be looking at strategies and training and making sure that our institutional knowledge is spread and we can do this and whatever. And you're because at that, when you're managing, we got 73,000 employees, you're the chief cheerleader.
Got it. Okay. So the punch up because I love to talk about exact language. One of the gifts I have is language. It's one of the few. And I always try to actually workshop with founders. This is one of the things I do on boards of company. Somebody said, I'm having a problem with X, Y, and Z. I said, well, how are you going to say that to that person? He's like, that's why I'm calling you, J. Cal. And I said, here's how I would say it. And then I said, hold on, let me say it one more time. And he's a little bit founder says to me, this is like a very significant company. Can I record this? I was like, by all means. And I just workshop back and forth him. I literally role play with him. And I said, I really appreciate the feedback. I think it's incredibly thoughtful. Here's what I'm seeing on the ground inside the company. Here's how your feedback relates to that. And I think a possible way forward, based on what I'm seeing with ground truth and what you know from your wisdom from being in the industry for 30 years, would the best solution going forward be for me to give you weekly reports on this data, and then for us to debrief weekly, monthly, quarterly? What do you think would work best? And it was like, he was like, oh my God, how come I don't know how to say that? And I was like, whatever, I just don't worry. So here's what Benioff could have added. Obviously, I'm speaking in general terms here about the overall productivity of the company. I would like managers to take responsibility for the productivity of their teams. And obviously, you should talk to your manager, because there are some people here who are wildly productive and this doesn't apply to. And then there are people who are struggling, and they might be struggling because of their own personal effort, professional development, their manager not doing a great job, or in all likelihood, some combination of those three things. So just workshopping it, that's the unlock. He's not blaming people. It's just setting reality. And remember, I told you, Warren Bennis told me on this very program, we have to pull the episode number. Warren Bennis is a management consultant who I was very taken by when I used to do interviews live. Somebody had just tipped me off that he lived in LA, and he's passed away right now, but he was really great. And he said to me something that stuck with me forever. One of the best pieces of advice. He said, Jason, what leaders do is they define reality. And he got this from being in the war. He said, you got to define reality first. Once you define reality, then everybody can accept the reality and then work forward to solve whatever challenges you might have. Now, that could be you're in a foxhole and you're surrounded, and the 10 people in your platoon are not making it out, but maybe 2 could make it out. Maybe 3 could make it out and tell the story. I mean, this is heavy stuff, right? But the reality is we're surrounded, we're out of ammunition. We're either going to have to surrender and be tortured, or we're going to fight our way, blast our way out, and 2 or 3 of us might make it. Or none of us are going to make it. Okay, now we all accept that reality. Let's fight our way out, right? Han Solo, never tell me the odds. I want to ask you about one thing embedded in here. And this is a serious, important conversation that Silicon Valley has to have. Are we not, for people who are first-time employees, not just like, it's their 5th job, but first job out of college, let's say, should they be working at home? Or should they be in an office with deliberate professional development, management, mentorship? Because he's saying, like, it's really hard to become a Salesforce employee here. Now, we had it's very emotional remote work, because people feel like, I finally have the freedom and flexibility I want. You feel that way. I feel that way. But management's like, wait a second. So is that valid? Molly, representing the worker class. Go ahead, union leader. Here we go.
I know, right?
She's like, why are you painting me as a union leader? We just should embrace it. People are on Twitter. Molly's too far left. Jay Cow's capitalist menace to society. Molly's a woke left. It. We're going to embrace it. Let's go.
We're just leaning in. I don't have any nuance. I never had any nuance. I'm just kidding.
God forbid there be any nuance. Molly and Jay Cal have to be opposite sides. Sax and Jay Cal can have no overlapping opinions. To the death. Go ahead.
I do 100% think that. Like, I think that it is great for
stunning.
I mean, and
here it is.
And I don't know that every company is going to be able to create that opportunity, right? Like, some companies have gone remote first. I think that what we're going to find is there's no question that remote work, I think, reduces your sense of connection to the place that you work in. I think it reduces your kind of overall connection.
Esprit de corps.
And esprit de corps. Absolutely. Like, you just don't feel the same trust and loyalty at a company. I mean, I felt deeply connected to and committed to and loyal to Marketplace to a point, because I had never worked in that office. There were people, like, when I left Marketplace, I was like sad to leave, of course. And there were like 3 people I was sorry not to work with, but a lot of people worked there who I had never met, because I had never been in the office in LA.
Was low for you.
It was.
You did say to me, end of the day, I want to honor my contract. I want to do the right thing for Kai. And I respected that. And I said, okay, whatever time. I mean, I want Molly Wood as my co-host. The timeline is the timeline. I'm not going anywhere. If it takes me a year or 2 to get you as the co-host on the show, I'll wait. I'm not in a rush. I want the best. You're the best guitar player. I'm a lead guitarist and you can play rhythm perfectly with me. And then you can also play a little lead. That's great.
Yeah.
I got no ego about it. If I can get you in 6 months or 18, and it took, I think, 24 or 18,
it did,
I was like, I'll wait. I looked. I'll be honest with you. While I was waiting for you, I was still looking. Of
course you were.
As I should. That's my due diligence. And you know what I found? Nobody compared to you. There it is.
Thanks, man.
You can play the song right now. She's like, heart,
Thank
agree.
You. I agree. But
and here's the dynamic. People like it.
But I have been in the work world for a really long time. Right. I've been in the work world for a really long time, right? If this were my first job ever,
pragmatic.
If I were like 20, 22,
yes,
I come into this place. I've never met the people that I work with ever. I'm alone in my apartment. Like for some young people, remote work is horrible because they're lonely and miserable and they don't have a good place to work and they can't afford the internet connection and their companies aren't helping them. And I think what we're likely to see, I just resist the idea of a mandate for every company and every single young person. But like, fundamentally, if you're going to have a remote first workplace, then you have to figure out, especially with those young people, how to get them together a lot. They need to bond.
Hard. Yeah, I mean, I've seen producer Rachel's apartment on this camera. It's not pleasant.
I know, poor thing.
It's a rough place to work out of every day. She lives in a tiny little apartment.
There's always like police cars going by. Yes, exactly.
It's crazy. I mean, listen, trust me, I used to hang on the L. Well, I don't want to dox her, but I used to hang in Manhattan.
Yeah.
Let me give the official answer here.
It's loud.
You nailed it. Management and the worker class, as represented by J. Cal and Molly. Woja.
No nuance ever.
No. Young workers, first-time workers should be in the office. And whether it's 5 days a week or 3, we can split hairs. And they want to be. I'll be totally honest. I don't think they want to be at home. It's not good for their psychology.
Even I want to drive some absurd amount of time and space to an office once a week. Like, you feel better about the people you work with.
Correct. You build more fabric. Now, I'm making an announcement here. I think if we're on a hiring freeze right now, but I think for new positions for my venture firm, not speaking for Insight here, I'm going to make all new positions in the office. I'm thinking about it. I'm not going to make people who are not in the office. But if I hire, let's say things go particularly well, raising launch fund for meetings have been going. We got all the accredited slots. We had $45 million in demand early, and now I'm going to meet with the big LPs. I did 2 meetings, went incredible. I think I'm feeling pretty good about it. If I have to hire a couple more associates, I think it's going to be associates. You got to be in the office, and Jake Howe's going to show up a couple days a week and sit with you. And if that's appealing to you, then move your ass to San Francisco or wherever I put the office, or keep the existing San Francisco office or whatever. I've been thinking about it. I'm not going to drag you and the other people in. You guys at your leisure. If you want to come in, I'll be there these hours. We could wrap out. We could have like the investment team meetings, let's say, in person, maybe. Who knows?
So great.
So that's what I believe is going to happen as we go into the recession, because there's another dynamic here. Booming market. Remember the booming market?
It was such a short time ago too. It was like 5 minutes ago.
Feels like it's 10 years ago. Remember when anything was possible and all the companies were going to be unicorns?
In the summer?
Like a year ago?
We were literally
last year when I was sitting here with the slopes behind me and I just started skiing at my brand new ski house and the world was my oyster and I wasn't living in complete chaos 12 months ago.
And literally 12 months ago, you were like, I'm skiing every afternoon. I'm going to enjoy my life. Now you're like 8:30 to 8:30 and on Sundays, twice on Sundays.
I was talking with my spouse. She's like, how you doing, buddy? And I'm like, not good.
Yeah.
This is really depressing for me. I don't get depressed, but I was having like a little pity party over the weekend. I was like, oh my Lord, all my companies going out of business, all these companies making cuts, me having to look at companies and say, what's the plan if I have to make cuts? This is, it's heavy. And I take it very personal, very emotional person. I have a lot of empathy. And so like when founders call me and they're, upset or they're down, it's just like, I am like Lieutenant, who was on Star Trek, The Next Generation, the empath.
Yeah, Dana Troy.
Troy. I'm like her. I like literally their sadness goes inside of me and I feel it. And so I was just having like that little like moment of like, oh God, I feel so bad for my founders who are laying people off and they're scared. And, all that emotion goes inside of me. A booming market, the power tilts to the employees, right? And it's been like that for 10 years. We've had this discussion.
Yeah.
Then COVID happens. Well, you know what? Employees gained even more power. And then, and this is all a 2-year period of time.
I know.
Then a recession, employees lose all power.
Mm-hmm.
All power. Unless you are top 5 or 10%, it's over.
Yeah.
Power's now swung the other way. Let's just call it what it is. So now, all these this is the white collar recession. It's not a blue collar recession. Blue collar workers are getting paid more and more, and the jobs are not filled. Everybody needs more waiters. Everybody needs more housekeepers. Everybody needs more, plumbers, which is a kind of electricians.
Oh my God, electricians.
Those jobs they can't fill. These are jobs that pay 6 figures for manual labor, and they can't fix them. They can't fill them. Plumbers, look up average plumber salaries. In some cases, like cities, it's 100, 200K. I mean, it's a job. Anyway, putting that aside, thank you. Thank you, everybody. That one landed. Now the recession has tilted. Any young person in the workforce is going to be going to an office. I hate to tell you. That's it.
Yeah.
And you know what? It's going to be good for you. Go to the office. I did it my whole career. You're going to learn a lot. It's going to suck to commute, but just lean into it and embrace it. And then the new standard, I believe, will be like the old standard, which is be a high performer, earn the right to make your own hours, earn the right to work from home. That's where the pendulum will land.
You know what? That makes perfect sense too, because the people who, what you're describing is potentially a wonderful work life where when you're young and you're meeting your spouse and you want to be social and you need to connect with a workplace in order to learn and get the chance to impress the boss, and you've got all the energy and you can commute or you're living right there in the city, that is exactly when you can and should be in the office, and it will enrich you and benefit you and be incredible. And then when you have kids and you need a little more flexibility because you might have a doctor's appointment but you also want the option to get the hell away from your children and your dogs and go to the office 2 days a week, and you've earned that trust, that honestly is kind of the perfect, and we had it unofficially.
Yes. It was a wink.
We've had it for decades.
It was like, wait a second, that, CEO, that senior VP, they can't have that many vacation days. And it's like, well.
Or they hardly come into the office, and it's
or they're leaving early, long lunches. Like, well, did you see their book of business as the top salesperson? Did you see the creativity and how the product is designed for that product manager? It's like, you know what? And that coder is 4 times more, it's one of those 10X coders. Okay, it's a 10X coder and they want to spend more time in, Costa Rica. You're not firing them because, at 3 a.m, you get the code commit that solved all the problems that nobody else in the company could.
Right.
Freedom, performance. Freedom comes from performance.
Power law.
That's where this ends. Now, let's go back to Salesforce and then we wrap on Salesforce. If you built the largest building, Molly, in San Francisco that you can see from Marin to SFO.
Oh, there she is. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. This is like the Pharaoh building the greatest pyramid. That is
a
modern
temple to your greatness.
To your greatness, Mark Benioff. With the top floors being the Ohana. Am I pronouncing that correctly?
Ohana.
The Ohana something space.
Yeah.
I've been there. You've been to the Ohana space at Salesforce?
I think I went to one party there when it first opened. Yeah.
It is like nothing you've seen in your life. It's 2 floors of event space with stairs between them, vaulted ceilings that look out on the bay. And there is no Google Salesforce tower. There is the Apple campus. This is what pharaohs do. This is what kings do. Kings build castles. The pharaohs built the pyramids. The elite executives build a temple, an object in the world for their disciples to come. Now look at the Apple campus. Look at that beautiful ring. We'll pull that up next. Then look at Facebook's Geary designed a building in East Palo Alto with the walking roof.
Totally. The green roof that's
you
like
as
a
the
park.
pharaoh or queen. Imagine Molly being queen and you built that.
Yeah.
Look at that beautiful. Now imagine you're Cleopatra and you build that. Imagine you're the great pharaoh and you built that. The Taj Mahal. and nobody goes there.
Nobody goes there. And it's crickets.
What does that do to the psyche of that person?
God.
People are
so
humans.
True. They
People
are humans.
Look at the Geary building that Zuckerberg built. I'll tell you what happens on the inside. When you get rich and powerful like this, and you have tens of billions, hundreds of billions of dollars laying around, and you're like, what can I do with these stacks of money? I can buy my shares back. Okay, whatever. It's not particularly joyful to buy some shares back. Who cares? Like some numbers on a spreadsheet change. But when you meet with Frank Gehry, or you meet with whoever the architect was, and they say, here's a possibility. And then here's another possibility. And then they got the secret possibility, the third option. They don't tell you this is how the architects make the money. They give you the two options. And you're like, whoa, the Pharaoh sits there. And then the architect said, I have this, but this, you said 2 billion and this is 5. But this is, if like,
this is what the real Pharaoh would do.
This is like we start with like something insane, and then of course we get pragmatic,
and you get the person's like, buy at the end.
Say, one more time, tell me more, and then all of a sudden, whether it's in Qatar where they built all these incredible stadiums for the World Cup, whether it's Benioff with his tower, or Steve Jobs with he didn't. I don't know that he lived to see it, the campus, or Zuckerberg, whoever it is, it's their Taj Mahal. It's psychologically, even if they admit it or not, psychologically, it grinds you that you built the temple and the temple is empty. And they want people to come to the temple and they want them to learn the religion. And this is at the core of this debate. And you know what? All the young disciples, you're going to come to the church. You're going to go to church. You're coming to the temple. Or you're not going to work for the next 2 or 3 years until the cycle starts anew. And in phase 3 or 4 of the cycle, we'll be back to you getting to pick what you want. But for now, you're lucky. I've been talking to some people out there about jobs. And they're like, I got 6 months. And then some of the people who got laid off 3 months ago, they're like, I got 3 months, and they're out there looking for jobs. Not looking good for white collar.
No, it's grim.
You heard any anecdotal stories?
Yes. Well, because I know all those people in media.
Yeah. The media people are screwed.
The media people are screwed. It's just a slaughter. Everybody's like, I hope I can monetize my Substack. Like it's tough.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, it's
by the way,
it's going to be brutal for a while.
Mollywood.substack.com. Oh, and here is the Gehry, the greatest architect, one of the greatest architects of our time. I.M. Pei, I guess, is the other one.
Yep.
But like,
look at this building.
Imagine you build something like this, and people are walking around the rooftop. Look at that rooftop. I mean, it's literally like take the 10 greatest hotels in the world and whatever they accomplished, and then 10x that, and that's where you go to work, and now nobody's there.
Right.
And it's empty. And you're spending literally $1,000 a day maintaining the plants on the roof. I guarantee you it cost hundreds of millions of dollars to maintain that building.
Oh, I'm sure.
I'm not counting taxes. I'm talking about maintenance of plants and cleaning furniture. Nobody shows up.
Yep. And it's so interesting because that is why, like, when one of the things that Benioff was really upset about was that this memo was leaked. And he was like, what? And the thing is that all of that is the stuff that starts to happen more and more and more. Like you never used to hear a peep out of Apple. You never would. Facebook employees did not leak. They loved it there. Loved working there. Yeah. And again, when you all leave, you're not part of the cult. You don't go and get indoctrinated. You don't go and take that stroll on that beautiful rooftop. You lose the connection a little bit. You start to disconnect. You feel less loyal. You're like, I don't like the way they're treating me. Like I think that I surprisingly agree with you. It's not even that surprising. I mean, I 100% agree with you that people feel better when they go to offices. And also there are going to be some companies who can and also work has changed forever. So some companies will continue to use it as a differentiator to say you can always be remote, and there will be choices, and that management will have to over time adjust and adapt to how to manage a remote workforce. And that conversation needs to be happening in equal and opposite and equal impact.
You know what? The underlying tension here is the commute. The reason why CEOs are oblivious to this is because they pick where the office is and they can afford to live near it. So if you're Benioff and you live, I don't want to dox him, but I think it's public knowledge. He lives somewhere in San Francisco and his driver can get him to the office in 15 minutes.
Right.
He's like, what's the issue? But now if you're coming from the East Bay and you got to get on BART and you got to be accosted by some mentally ill person who's on fentanyl, you're like, here's the issue. I got to get on BART and it smells like urine. And, I got to stand for 45 minutes and it breaks down every other day. There is a direct correlation between depression, domestic violence, suicide, anxiety, and commute length. And it turns out the ideal commute length is like 20, 30 minutes. After that, it becomes oppressive.
Mm-hmm.
Our office, I can get to, even I live far away from it, but I can get to it in, similar amount of time. I don't feel depression about it. But now if you had to go 90 minutes, I'd be like, well, F this.
Yeah.
So you could solve the whole problem if people can e-bike to work. That's all. They just got to be able to get to work on an e-bike or a car in 15 to 30 minutes, 40 max. This would not be an issue if housing was prevalent. And what should happen next is these kingdoms, these temples that are built, should come with the requirement that you build housing next to it. And all of these NIMBY people need to stop their nonsense. And when Apple builds that big round circular campus, they should be allowed to build 2 towers next to it of employee housing that they control, that is theirs. And if they want to have 5,000 people come to a location, they should be required to have 10% of that in employee towers near it. That's at a discount or just whatever at cost. And now that may seem creepy to people, but for a young person, when they go to college provides housing.
Mm-hmm.
Why wouldn't Google and Facebook and Apple and Salesforce be able to say, hey, we're building this giant building. We want to build a dormitory next to it, AKA an apartment building.
Yeah.
And if young people want it, their studios, 1 bedroom. It's not for families. We're not replacing housing. We're taking a little pressure cooker off. Like the little, when you do the hot pot, the little steam comes out the top. You have the little pressure cooker so it don't blow up.
Yeah.
That would be amazing. Then you got 500 or 5,000 people going to the campus. The young folks are like, oh, I can walk.
Right.
I can e-bike and I'm at work.
And they'll do it.
They might very much like it.
And then add some other housing in the community. Like, why not? No, but like young people will, right? Young people who do all this
common sense,
huge amount of task work that takes hours and hours and hours, as opposed to like brain work, right? The intellectual work that executives do that can occur while they're doing the dishes. Like there's just different kinds of work. There are different kinds of modalities. The sooner we realize that, the more we can optimize for the right employee at the right time.
I heard some thing go by my feed that like ChatGPT is making $200 million a year.
Apparently.
How?
I don't know.
People.
So evidently,
it's free for consumers. Are people licensing it, or is that all from Microsoft? Can you explain this to us?
So what's super hilarious is we were like, wait a second. So this headline goes by that says that OpenAI, which is the startup, of course, that makes ChatGPT, is projecting $200 million in revenue next year and $1 billion in revenue by 2024. And then I immediately to our producers was like, you got to like show us how in the heck that's going to happen, because OpenAI right now is a research organization.
It was a nonprofit. They flipped to be a nonprofit.
It crossed $1 million. So then they released ChatGPT and it went insane. Everybody knows about this, like at every level of society. It's so freaking fascinating. It crossed 1 million users just 5 days after it launched. CEO Sam Altman was asked if it would always be free. And he said, we will have to monetize it somehow. At some point, the compute costs are eye-watering. And even though it had basically no plan to make money, it was valued at $20 billion. So according to the OpenAI website, we did do a little digging. It charges developers that license its technology via API. Costs about a penny to generate 20,000 words of text and about 2 cents to create an image from a written prompt. Reuters reported that in this pitch to investors, they're predicting this $200 million in revenue and then aiming for $1 billion in 2024. And that's where, to be honest, we don't know how they plan to make that money.
API fees, just like Amazon charges for compute power or Twilio charges for email and SMS sends. Makes total sense. It'll be a money printing machine. There will be competitors. As we said, Google needs to get their butt in gear. Google and Sundar should be staring at the ceiling. His teeth should have all the enamel ground down on them, because last week we played a game, Molly. We called it Google search for ChatGPT. Remember that? And
Good times.
ChatGPT worked. Everybody, this is storming the interwebs. Everybody's saying Google search or ChatGPT. Everybody wants to know if it was a fluke. So I asked the producers, can we do one more round of Google search or ChatGPT?
Because
I just want to know if it's true or not. Because ChatGPT won round one. So here we go. Round two. Sundar, I wish you the best. But you got your ass handed to you in round one. And now it's Sam Altman versus Sundar in round two of Google search and ChatGPT. Take it away, Vanna White.
Oh my God, okay. Question number one. Who are the Olsen sisters?
Okay, I know the answer to this. Okay. Here we go.
Uh-huh.
Now, wait, you don't know the... You don't know.
Idea. I have no idea.
And so people know how we did this. We took the first or second result on Google, we copied and pasted the text, and then we compared it to the text given to us by ChatGPT. So it's normalized. Molly has no idea. I have no idea.
Nope.
Because when you're doing a Google search, it's reasonable to say you're going to click on a link. That's the idea. Or maybe we took the one box, but my producers here, our producers, made it so we don't know.
So here's the answer that we got from either ChatGPT or Google. Mary Kate Olsen and Ashley Fuller Olsen, born June 13th, 1986, also known as the Olsen twins as a duo, are American fashion designers and former actresses. The twins made their acting debut as infants, playing Michelle Tanner on the television series Full House in San Francisco. At the age of 6, Mary Kate and Ashley began starring together in other TV shows, film, and video projects, which continued to their teenage years. Through their company Dual Star, the Olsens joined to the ranks of the wealthiest women in the entertainment industry at a young age.
Okay, hold on. Now, this is either a ChatGPT response or it is one of the first links on a Google search that's been cut and pasted. And we took all, so we're just reading a straight text document here. Now, if I were to read this, this feels awfully like a Wikipedia response. That's what it feels like to me. Because I've been using Wikipedia since it came out. This feels Wikipedia-ish in terms of how they like to write stuff. But now we also know ChatGPT was trained on Wikipedia.
Everything.
Google search has had the benefit of putting the Wikipedia snapshots in Google for free because it's common use. Right? It's got Creative Commons. And you don't, as long as you source it correctly. I'm going, this is a Wikipedia result. And I think it's a Google search result. What do you think, Molly?
I thought the same thing. I think this has Wikipedia written all over it.
So it's a Google search result?
I think it's a Google search result.
Okay. So it's a Google search result. Okay, great.
Ding, ding, ding. We got one.
So we're 1 for 1. Now the question is, I guess, if we put this up against another way to play this game is not us guessing it, is to put the two there and say which one's better. So for round 3 of ChatGPT versus Google, I want to put them side by side and pick which is better. That'll be round 3.
Nice. There is a toggle below so we can look, but we'll see all the other answers though.
Okay, so let's go through it and then we'll do that. Okay. Molly, we both got it right.
Nailed it. Okay, we're learning. The humans are learning alongside the AI.
Okay, here we go.
Question number 2. How can I start a podcast?
Great prompt.
Great prompt.
In our wheelhouse.
Yep. All right, answer. Maybe we should put this answer up because it's a lot of bullet points, but choose a topic. The first step in starting a podcast is to choose a topic that you are passionate about and that you think will be of interest to your audience. Determine your format. Will it be an interview, solo, or co-hosted show? Choose a name and artwork. Give your podcast a catchy name and create some artwork to go with it. Set up your recording equipment. You will need some basic equipment to record your podcast, including a microphone, recording software, and a way to edit your audio. There are many options to choose from, ranging from inexpensive to professional grade equipment. Record and edit your episodes. Once you have your equipment set up, it's time to start recording your episodes. You can do this by yourself or with a co-host or guest. Choose a hosting platform. In order to share your podcast with the world, you'll need to choose a hosting platform. Yeah, you get it. And then promote your podcast. And then finally, it can be a lot of work, but with dedication and creativity, you can create a successful and engaging show that resonates with your audience.
All right. I just want to say that this is so comprehensive.
It really is.
It's so good. It's so thorough. It is so on point.
It's exactly the right steps in exactly the right order.
It's so good that I think a content farm answer that infected the top 10 results would not be this good. Therefore, I believe this is ChatGPT. And I'm a little scared right now because I'm starting to associate a comprehensive, thoughtful answer that's perfectly written as ChatGPT.
Right. And that's
Molly, what's your breakdown? Take me through your process for your answer. I'm sorry I went first both times. You do the next two first.
I 100%
I'm so excited
agree.
about the game.
And it's also, I think the other dead giveaway is that it doesn't try to sell you anything.
It's not smarmy.
It's not smarmy. It's just this, but it is encouraging. I feel like we're starting to get to know ChatGPT a little bit, and its language, like this last thing where it's like, it can be a lot of work, but with dedication and a little bit of creativity, you can create a successful and engaging show that ChatGPT is like kind of encouraging. Remember when we had it write the play about choosing the right major? And it was like, the important thing is that you find something that makes you happy and resonates with you. Like, it's a little gentle mom. And I think that's the giveaway for me here.
What an insight from you, Molly.
It encourages you.
It's a tell. If it's the chatbot, they designed the chatbot to make you feel better about yourself, whereas Google search results are based on content, corporate content creation. And corporate content creation is not designed to make you feel good. It's designed to make you click and buy something. Yeah. We have figured it out. It's about the dollar. Mm-hmm. ChatGPT doesn't want to sell you something. It wants to make you successful. It wants to help you. Better intent.
It's here to help. Just like all AI, how it always starts.
All right, producers. No, it does not change producer Nick, because they're going to make money through fees, micropayments. ChatGPT is a micropayment processor.
Yeah.
And so it's going to be a subscription search engine. I'll tell you right now the business model. ChatGPT is going to partner with Google. I'll just tell you what's going to happen. Okay. After we get this answer, did we get it right or not?
We did.
Molly?
Nailed it.
So right now, Sundar, I have Google shares. I'm going to sell my Google. I'm making a J trade right now. I'm going to make a J trade right now. I'm going to get out of my Google shares. And if Google doesn't release a competitor in 100 days, I'm selling my Google shares and I'm buying Microsoft shares, because my understanding, and I'm going to need my producers to tell us on tomorrow's show, this is an assignment. From now on, we're doing assignments. For tomorrow's show or Wednesday's show, I want to know the relationship between Microsoft Search and OpenAI. I know there's investments. I know all this other stuff. They're using Azure, I understand, as their cloud. But I want to know if they have the exclusive right to search. I need somebody to either tell me or leak me, whatever. Don't break any laws. But if somebody has information they want to give to the TWI startup or producers at thisweekinstartups.com from an anonymous account, I think Microsoft Bing has the exclusive on this for search. If that is the case, and if Google and Sundar do not release something competitive in 100 days, I'm selling my shares in Google and I'm moving them to Microsoft. This could be the Google search killer. Now, that's going to be hard to happen. But you know what? There was a time when people thought Google was a toy and Yahoo directory was the winner. Mm-hmm. And we all saw that movie, and it happened faster and more violently than we thought. This is red alert for Google. Google needs to fire a third of its employees and tell the other 2/3 to get back in the office and to make a competing product here. This should be an existential moment for Google, and I don't perceive them taking it serious enough.
I agree.
I think if you own Google shares right now, you need to have your finger on the sell button. I'm hovering over the sell button on my Google shares, and I'm hovering over the buy button. Mark 100 days from today. I want a 100-day clock, producer Nick. Remind us every 20 days or so to talk about this, and I'm going to make this trade in the next 100 days. I'm going to double my position in Microsoft and sell my position in Google.
Boom. All right, but now tell us how ChatGPT is going to make money.
Very simple.
You were on the verge, yes.
Yes, it's very simple. Microsoft is going to make Bing search have this feature. Microsoft does not need to make money from their search engine. They need to get people into their ecosystem. If this is integrated into the ecosystem, it keeps the Windows franchise going. It keeps the Office franchise going. It increases the search results in Bing. they will figure out a way to make money from it just from having more users in their ecosystem. Microsoft Games, Microsoft Office, Azure. This is going to grow those businesses. So in the same way, Google does not need to make money from Google Office or Google Docs. What do they call the Google Suite?
Google Suite.
The Google Suite's not what makes Google money. Google Suite keeps you on Google's website, right? How do you get to Google Suite? You open up the Google search interface and you go to the top right-hand box and you hit that little 4 thing and it's got the icon for Google Docs, right? It keeps you in the Google ecosystem. You're using Chrome, right? It's just you're using Chrome, you're using Google Docs, you're using Google presentations, and that makes you search more. What search will do at Bing is they'll have the little thing for Microsoft, for Xbox 360, for Minecraft, for Office. It'll make you use those more and those franchises. So you have one franchise that makes it through cloud computing and software, and the other one makes it through search and advertising. People hate advertising in certain contexts. I think in search they like it, but you can lose. Microsoft doesn't have the dependency Google does on ad revenue. So your margin is my opportunity.
Also, the AI. I mean, we're just assuming that this is only good for search, right? This is still a massively powerful AI technology that can make all of its other products better. So the more it gets us using. We assume, right? None of the articles that have talked about Microsoft's investment have ever even mentioned Bing. And so it does make me wonder, like, if a tiny bit they haven't thought of that, which is kind of awesome because they are thinking about it now. But the idea of all of us
in there, Molly, it may not be in there. They may not be saying it because it's the most important part.
Because it's the most important part, exactly. Because all of us using Bing GPT trains Bing GPT. To make every other Microsoft product better because they can embed this AI and, all of a sudden your email writes itself and your, cloud automatically optimizes for this, that, and the whatever even magic AI can do. It all does as a result of us training it by using it for search.
Can I give Sam Altman his flowers for a second?
Yeah.
Sam Altman's brilliant. I mean, I know Sam personally. The kid's brilliant for 2 reasons. One, he flipped this to a for-profit. Number 2, Sam Altman is brilliant because he knows Google had the bet on DeepMind and they're doing no deal with OpenAI. And he said, who is their biggest rivalry? And let me create a deep relationship with them. You don't need to make a relationship with the number 1 person. What you want to do is make a relationship with the person competing with the number 1 person. He understood that. By the way, Sam Altman also pretty good poker player. So I think he knows how to manage risk and place bets. What a brilliant move historically for him to align OpenAI with Microsoft, because they also have GitHub. And GitHub was a Y Combinator company. You remember, Sam Altman was president of Y Combinator for a while. He then, GitHub uses OpenAI for their Copilot product, the thing that helps you write code.
Yep.
Man, Microsoft's going to buy OpenAI, or OpenAI is going to just be a sister company or whatever. But
Microsoft's literally could be the company that runs they just did such a silent turnaround. Like they went underground after the big antitrust thing. The Ballmer years, Satya has come in and he is just the silent killer. Like they're going to take over everything. Satya. And then also more flowers for Sam Altman, who knows how to keep his own money in his pocket. Because did you also hear about how OpenAI has a profit cap to investors at 100x?
Yeah, they can only do 100x or 20x.
Yeah, 100x.
Something like that. And I was like, by the way, if you're pricing the thing at 20 billion, like, is it really going to become $1 trillion company? Like, it's kind of like me being like, you know what? I can't use that analogy. I was going to use a dating analogy. Sorry, I had to stop myself. It's like me being like, you can come to my restaurant, but you can only spend $1,000 on dinner per person.
Right.
And you're like, how do I do that? And it's a $300 prefix. Like you got 3 Michelin stars. How do I spend 1,000? You're like, nope, sorry. 1,000 per person. You're like, okay, I guess I have to buy $700 worth of wine per person and get the white truffle supplement. I don't know. It's like the greatest reverse psychology ever.
It really is. Actually,
you can only make 100x. You're like, that's what I want to make. Never made 100x on a late stage investment. Well done, Sam Altman. Chef's kiss to you.
Bravo.
Give them slow clap.
All the
Give Sam
flowers.
Altman all the flowers. Little Big Things is something that I wanted to do here based on a website. I want to give the website the flowers. Is the website biglittlethings.com or littlebigthings.com? It's the opposite. So we did the opposite here, even though we stole it from them. So we're doing Little Big Things. But if you were to go to Little Big Details, I love this website. I visit it every 3 or 6 months and an hour goes by. They just on this website, littlebigdetails.com, it's for a bunch of design geeks and they point out little design things that are notable. We are doing Little Big Things, not Little Big Details. So we stole it from them to do this segment. Please don't sue us. But it's little things you and I find in the world, or producer Rachel, that we think are notable and fun. And we want to give them a high five, some flowers. What do we got this week?
I know. And this week is one of these. I mean, this was like a stealth product appearance that took the world by storm. Instagram, of all things, rolled out a new feature that I have not seen anywhere else. Which one is crazy. It does not appear to be a direct ripoff. And all of a sudden, everybody seemed to find out about it and use it all at once. It's called Notes, Instagram Notes. And in your DM interface, which is, of course, where all the kids live, you can hit this little plus button and leave a little note for people. Right. And they can respond. Like, I don't know that everybody immediately figured out it's a sort of potentially a chat prompt, like ChatGTP, but for humans who follow you. But you just leave this cute little note, and all of a sudden it was like, it appeared. Everybody loved it. Everybody's using it. I'm like, how did everyone know about this? And how did Instagram invent a new thing as opposed to stealing it from someone else? I'm so confused.
Well, it's basically a tweet, I think, that starts a private chat. But it is, I think, best described as a chat prompt because it's not public.
Right.
And so there's Rachel. I have no thoughts, only vibes. You know, that's like a Gen Z thing, you know?
Perfect.
She's got that little Gen Z melancholy and the infinite sadness, vibes. And you can look it up later, Rachel. It's one of the greatest albums of Gen Z.
Producer Brian says it's like Hinge, the dating app.
Ooh, I don't know. I've never been on Hinge.
I have never been on Hinge either. Is that where they ripped this off from?
Molly's a liar. She's been on Hinge.
No, I'm a Bumble girl.
Oh, you just got a bunch of stands and Sims to download Bumble. You should get paid for that.
No. That's why I use Bumble, because only the woman can message.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah,
so anyway,
they figured
this is great. This is a great Little Big Thing for you to check out in your Instagram feed. If you have little big things you've noticed in products in the world, please email producers at thisweekinstartups.com. And if you'd like to make the jingle for this, you might get yourself 15 minutes on Zoom with me. Or $500 sent to your Amazon gift card, whatever you want. The end. All right. Great show, everybody.
Great show. All right.
Okay. So, Molly, why does it matter that they're doing this?
I think it matters because it's Instagram trying to take better advantage of its status as a communication platform. That's my theory. Because this only exists in your DM interface, which again, like a lot of olds don't use Instagram for DM, but Gen Zs, my kid doesn't even text, right? All of his chats are in Instagram DM, and Instagram has been, I think, way behind the curve in terms of getting broader awareness of its group chat capabilities. Like they're just getting trounced by iMessage and Signal. And here they are, in fact, a pretty decent messaging platform that's built into the place you're already sharing with stories. So I think they're trying to drive people and start those chats by actually giving you an ability to prompt those chats.
So it's going to raise engagement, but Instagram is known as the superficial social network, images, stories, Insta models, Insta girlfriends, Insta husbands, all this, like everything is based on the photo and the FOMO. But here's a place where you could be more intimate, if I would use a word, or be more personal. And I have to say, when I was having my emo weekend, my pity party this weekend, I put a sad face.
I know.
And I put exhausted.
I was like legitimately worried when
it was my cry for help. I was being a whiny little, whatever word you want to put as the third word, a whiny little bee, a whiny little boy. That's right. A WLB, a whiny little boy.
Okay. No, Nick. No, J-Cal. You are allowed to have feelings and still be a strong, healthy human in the world.
Okay, fine.
Good God. You guys
I
are
was
like,
feeling.
I had a feeling it was pathetic.
Sorry, I don't mean to be.
Snowflake.
You sound like my daughter now, who thinks I'm a toxic male. I am. I'm put it out there. I have a
Oh,
little
no, Nick
toxic
was doing it
masculinity.
too,
I'm of a
to be
certain
fair.
generation. What's that?
Nick was doing it too. He's like,
But
snowflake.
I was being a little
snowflake.
emo. I was snowflaking it, and I was
Which
just
is
like,
fine.
ah. And you know what I did? I did slope therapy. 4 out of the last 6 days, I got on the slope. I put in a Pink Floyd concert. I put in a Dire Straits concert. Then I put in Melancholy Infinite Sadness. And I started playing some like really good Billy Corrigan, and I just ripped it. And I did
Works every
whatever, 4 or 5 hours on the mountain alone.
Endorphins.
I'm back. I'm back to my toxic masculinity. The samurai armor's back up. Let's kick some ass. Sorry about the F-bomb.
No more feelings
some
ever
ass.
again. Let's kick some ass.
I don't need emotions. And then I just replaced my sad face and my emo exhausted. And literally, it was so great though, Molly. I had like 10 people immediately like, you okay, buddy? You okay, little boy? You okay, little boy? I was like, give me the hug.
I was like,
It's been
hang
a
in there,
rough
buddy.
week.
Hang in there, buddy. You got
Hang
this.
in there, little buddy.
I sent you a hang in there like a kitty.
You did.
Yep.
Like, thank you for that. Everybody needs to hang in there, little buddy.
Everybody needs to hang in there, little buddy.
Yeah. So this is I want to give the Instagram team their flowers today. It's Flowers Monday. To try to keep everything on a positive tip here. My Knicks are on a 7-game winning streak. You'll know my psychology based upon my portfolio, based upon the ratings of the show, based upon the Knicks record, and how many hours I'm on the slope. I'm a simple person.
You can decode them.
It's easy. You can read me like a book. Knicks on a 7-game win streak. Jay Cal's going to be upbeat.
That's a good tip. I'm gonna put that
Just
in my
keep
whatever my stocks app is.
We're in the 6th seed. Feels like we can beat any team in the East, but 2. I'll take it. I'll take a first or second round exit as long as we put up a fight for my Knicks, and I'll go to New York for it. Molly, great job today on the show.
Great show.
Producers,
good Monday energy.
Producers, good job.
Everybody's productivity.
If I was going to rate 1 to 10, producers' performance today with no 8s, I give it a 9.
Nice.
Give it a solid 9. If that jingle had been there, it would be 9.5. And in my world, there's no 10s. So I'm just giving you a tip. The best you're going to do with me is 8.5, 9, 9.5. And I'm giving today a 9. So kudos to the producers. If you had the damn jingle, you would have gotten a 9.5, which is perfect in J. Cal's book. I've never given myself a 10. Okay?
The journey's never done, everybody. All right, stay tuned for...
And by the way, at the end of the show here, the special announcement. A lot of people have been asking about this CEO search. And I just got a DM. And just want to let everybody know that Mark Benioff and Bob Iger are going to remain CEOs of Salesforce and Disney. This is just important CEO notifications. We're always tracking, Molly, the CEO position. And people have a lot of questions for me about CEO jobs.
So many.
And those 2 are locked and loaded. Congratulations to those incredible executives for doing a great job. We'll see you all tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.